Rick Ness's crew are running 4 trucks full pelt to hit a gold bonanza at the bottom of the 210-foot deep Vegas Valley.
We got a small crew, and we got to work hard, and we got to work tight together to make this happen.
On a cold, dust-streaked Yukon morning, Rick Ness found himself staring at something no miner had ever prepared for. A towering 150-ton gold statue wedged inside the frozen hillside. At first glance, it looked like an oversized, gold-rich boulder. But as sunlight struck its surface, the unmistakable outline of a carved figure slowly emerged from the dirt, and silence fell over the crew. Before anyone could move, the ground shuddered beneath their boots. Cracks rippled across the tunnel floor like veins of lightning. One wrong vibration, and this entire golden giant could collapse, burying everything and everyone below it. Right then, as the team paused, our host whispered, "If you're following this journey with us, hit subscribe. Things are about to get dangerous." The deeper they dug, the stranger it became. Miners claimed the statue's hollow chest echoed, like something alive was sealed inside. Others swore they heard distant metallic breathing, drifting through the tunnels at night. Superstition spread, and some workers refused to return underground. Rumors ignited that this wasn't just gold. It was a marker, a guardian shielding a treasure vault buried even deeper beneath Dominion Creek, a vault that dozens of early miners died trying to reach. But Rick isn't turning back. The crew braces for every tremor, every shift, every falling stone, because if this statue collapses, it could crush equipment, erase millions in treasure, and unleash chaos no one can control. Stay close. The mountain is trembling, and the truth is just beneath its skin. For generations, quiet murmurs drifted across the mining settlements of western Ukraine, carried by aging hunters who claimed that beyond the birch forests, where the river once bent sharply before straightening its course, something ancient slept beneath the soil. They spoke of a massive golden sentinel that belonged not to kings or modern miners, but to a civilization so old that not even its name survived. It was the winter of 2023, around late October, when Rick Ness, drawn far from the Yukon by new investment partners, sat beside a fire in a remote Ukrainian mining camp. The elder's story was simple: a strange golden body sealed beneath the ground, revealed only when the earth cracked during storms. Many dismissed the tale as folklore, yet Ness felt an instinct ignite within him. By early November 2023, Rick initiated a small exploratory survey. His crew used ground-penetrating radar (GPR) to scan the fractured region along the abandoned riverbank. The readings were unexpected. Anomalous density spikes almost 150 to 200% higher than standard mineral clusters. A technical estimate followed. Beneath the fractured crust lay an object weighing roughly 150 tons. With precision drills and hand tools rather than heavy machinery, so as to avoid destabilizing the crack, Rick began peeling away the upper layers. The work was painfully slow. In the first 18 days, his team removed barely 6.2 meters of overburden. But when the final slab of soil fell away, sunlight struck something unimaginable, a curved surface of pure, shimmering metal, smooth, sculpted, unmistakably shaped, rose from the darkness. It bore the suggestion of a human-like torso, an arm curled across its chest as though frozen mid-vow. Every move from that moment demanded caution. The cracks surrounding the statue kept widening by 2 to 4 millimeters per day, threatening to swallow the golden form forever. Ness feared that even the vibration of a diesel engine might shatter the supporting ground and cause the monolith to vanish into the abyss below. So, day and night, the team dug by controlled increments. They reinforced the walls with steel ribs, injected soil stabilizers, and tested pressure levels every few hours. Still, the challenges multiplied. Unstable weather, hidden groundwater pockets, and equipment failures. Rick nearly lost a support rig when an aftershock split the trench wall. Yet the more he revealed, the clearer it became. The Guardian was real, carved by masterful hands, its craftsmanship astonishing. At 6.4 meters tall, analysts confirmed it was forged from exceptionally pure gold, nearly 97.8% purity, far higher than typical natural deposits. To historians, this was not just treasure. It was evidence of a forgotten world. With the upper half exposed by December 2023, Rick's crew prepared to tunnel beneath the statue to secure its foundation, so the colossal weight would not collapse into the fault line below. And just as operations reached deeper ground, the dirt shifted again, this time not revealing new danger, but the first glimpse of a smooth, hidden cavity beneath the golden mass. After the initial confirmation that something immense lay hidden beneath the broken earth of western Ukraine, Rick Ness gathered every fragment of historical rumor he could find. Tattered 18th century border maps hinted at an unexplored gold-bearing ridge near a former river bend in the Ivano-Frankivsk mining zone. Although most documents were incomplete, one sketch showed a strange symbol buried along a fracture line, matching almost perfectly with the topographic fissure where Rick discovered the gleaming curve just weeks before. By December 2023, Rick's first controlled dig had revealed only the upper arc of the object, but the reveal drew them deeper. The ground around was unstable. The cracks shifted by 3 to 7 millimeters each day, threatening to swallow the find. Heavy machinery was out of the question. So, the team worked with micro drills, chisel irons, and slow excavation systems designed for archaeological precision. In January 2024, the first strike of chisel against buried metal echoed eerily, not like stone, but like a temple bell, ringing through frozen ground. Dust rose, soil crumbled. Beneath it emerged surfaces strangely smooth and reflective, with faint engraving lines that seemed to shimmer even in low light. Ness feared vibrations could cause the fracture to widen, so the crew reinforced the trench with steel cross-bracing every 1.3 meters, stabilizing the chamber as they moved downward. By late January, over 9.8 meters of earth had been cleared. What they uncovered was no random boulder, no disordered gold cluster, but an intentional structure, a colossal figure kneeling, both arms drawn inward across its chest as though guarding what lay beneath. Its surface purity was later measured at 98.1% gold, nearly unheard of in natural formations. The statue, estimated at 150 tons, towered 6.4 meters tall even in its half-buried state. Its carved eyes, only partially freed from soil, appeared half open, imparting a strange sense of waking awareness. Several team members described the feeling of being watched, even though the cavern remained silent. The work grew more dangerous. Groundwater seeped into the trench, weakening the soil. On February 6, 2024, a small collapse trapped 2 workers behind fractured shale. Both were rescued within 17 minutes, but the incident forced Ness to redesign the support system. Sensors were planted around the trench, recording microquakes that averaged 0.4 to 0.7 magnitude daily, just enough to threaten destabilization. Even through these setbacks, excavation continued. Soil was removed bucket by bucket. over 314 cubic meters across 3 months, until the full upper body of the Golden Titan was revealed. Its sculpted torso was marked with unfamiliar iconography, spiral-linked circles, crescent lines, and symbols that faintly resembled a lost Proto-Slavic script. Each new section exposed revealed greater danger. Hairline fractures crept beneath the statue toward the void below. Rick feared that if the ground released, the entire Guardian might plunge into darkness and be lost forever. So the team built a careful buttress system beneath the statue's knees, distributing load away from the widening crack. And then, while clearing the final layer behind its bowed head, they found etchings, warnings, or prayers, whose meaning none of them yet understood. As the last of the soil slipped from the statue's gleaming shoulders in February 2024, relief briefly washed over the camp. But celebration died almost instantly when the ground answered with a sound like a buried animal waking, low, resonant, ancient. At first, workers thought it was wind moving through the fractured valley, until seismic monitors stationed around the excavation trench pulsed red. Measurements showed consistent microshocks at 0.6 to 1.1 magnitude, small but dangerously frequent. While the team gathered around the monitors, a new threat appeared. Thin fissures began snaking down from the statue's torso, running along its knees and deeper into the underground tunnels. These spiderweb cracks grew up to 5 to 8 millimeters daily, signaling internal tension. Rick Ness feared the unimaginable. If the crack beneath the statue widened further, the 150-ton golden figure could plunge into the collapsing seam and disappear into the earth forever. Local villagers, who once stayed distant, began arriving at the site, whispering stories passed down for centuries. They spoke of a golden guardian, placed by ancestors not to be worshipped, but to seal away a deeper force hidden beneath the soil. One elder claimed that when the guardian was awakened, the earth would shudder in warning, and if disturbed, it would fall to protect what lay below, whether treasure or curse. Rick tried to dismiss superstition, but every instrument confirmed the land was shifting. Even gentle touch against the statue's surface produced faint metallic groans, like tension moving through its frame. Reinforcement crews worked day and night, installing steel braces, filling cracks with resin stabilizers, and drilling pressure relief holes to redirect underground stress. Despite these efforts, on March 3, 2024, an unexpected tremor caused a partial collapse inside Tunnel B. 2 miners narrowly escaped when a support beam cracked under sudden earth movement. Soil composition tests revealed that the substrate beneath the statue consisted of loose gravel and clay, highly sensitive to vibration. Stability models estimated a 27 to 36% chance of catastrophic failure if excavation continued at current speed, forcing Rick to adopt even slower, more cautious procedures. Every centimeter of soil removed felt like a gamble. The crew switched to dust brushes and microspades, tools normally used for delicate archaeological recovery, not commercial mining. It took more than 300 labor hours just to clear the base around one golden knee. All the while, seismic readings continued fluctuating, sometimes spiking without obvious cause. Where the cracks led downward, Rick discovered narrow passageways, ancient tunnels, supported by stone braces, blackened by age. Strange runes lined the walls, mimicking the carvings found earlier atop the Guardian's shoulders. A historian brought to the site suggested the markings described a boundary, warning trespassers that a sacred entity below must never be touched. Rick did not slow. The Guardian was clearly only one piece of a larger design, and if something lay beneath, he intended to find it. So, with every recorded tremor and every widening fissure, he extended support beams and reinforced the tunnels with a hybrid of scaffolding and hydraulic braces. The cost ballooned, nearly 42% above projection. But abandoning the dig was no longer an option. Then, during a late-night inspection, something unexpected happened. While lowering a pressure sensor into one of the stone tunnels, the drill head passed through what seemed like empty space. A hollow cavity, large, engineered, impossible, lay directly beneath the statue's heart. By mid-March 2024, the discovery of a hollow chamber beneath the 150-ton Golden Sentinel forced Rick Ness into a decision no miner wants to make. He would have to descend under the unstable monolith before the widening crack swallowed it forever. Every step taken now came with the silent knowledge that the Guardian's weight could collapse at any moment, sealing the chamber and everyone inside it beneath thousands of tons of earth. The crew began constructing a narrow access passage, reinforced with a web of steel girders and hydraulic braces. Engineers estimated the statue's shifting base exerted nearly 900 to 1,200 kilopascals of pressure on the cavity roof, a load far beyond any safe rating. Still, Rick refused to halt. He divided his team into 2 shifts to minimize crowding underground and reduce vibrations. Every entry was timed to coincide with periods of lowest seismic activity measured by hourly monitor readings. Inside, the tunnels were strangely deliberate rather than natural. Their walls, carved by unknown hands, were tilted slightly inward, channeling weight away from the center. This ancient engineering helped buy precious minutes of safety. Along the walls, symbols churned like a story, written in spirals, repeating patterns of circles and bowed figures that appeared to kneel before a towering form, unmistakably resembling the statue above. Several symbols were later catalogued and compared to known scripts across Eastern Europe. Analysts found similarities to Proto-Slavic symbolic clusters dating back 8,000 to 10,000 years, though no written language matched exactly. The implication was staggering. Either a lost culture had existed much earlier than believed, or these people possessed traditions never recorded in modern history. As Rick descended deeper, nearly 23 meters under the statue, the passage narrowed. Heavy machinery could not pass through. Only handheld tools were safe. Every shovel stroke stirred ancient dust and awakened faint metallic echoes, as though something above listened. The men whispered out of instinct, not superstition. Even breathing felt like trespass. Along the floor, Rick found fragments of gold, thin symbolic scales, hammered into leaf-like patterns. Carbon dating later placed them near 7,000 BCE, aligning with the oldest agricultural settlements in Ukraine, yet far more advanced in metallurgy. These fragments hinted the statue may have been forged not as treasure, but as a vessel, something holy, protective, or feared. On March 19, 2024, while clearing rubble from a collapsed corner, workers uncovered a recessed alcove. Inside sat a stone relief depicting a ritual, a kneeling figure offering a radiant object beneath a great sentinel. A historian on site suggested this scene described a people sealing something more valuable than gold beneath their guardian, perhaps ancestral essence, memory, or power. During this period, danger was constant. Support beams groaned as tremors passed overhead. 2 braces weakened beyond tolerance thresholds, forcing emergency reinforcement. Soil humidity increased, threatening collapse. Rick ordered additional anchors driven into the chamber, 17 in total, to distribute the Sentinel's weight. Each new anchor reduced collapse risk by 3 to 4%, barely enough to continue. Finally, at the lowest point of the chamber, a smooth stone face appeared, carved into the tunnel wall like a sealed entrance. Its surface bore more spiral-line symbols, each marked with flake gold inlay. This was no natural formation. It was a door. Rick laid his hand against the stone, and unbelievably, a resonant vibration pulsed through it, like a breath held beneath rock. The crew stood silent. They had not merely dug under the statue, they had reached its purpose. Beneath the fractured Ukrainian mining plain, Rick Ness and his small team pressed deeper than any recorded excavation in the region. The original crack that revealed the 150-ton gold statue had widened within days, measured at 2.3 meters at discovery, expanding to 3.7 meters within 72 hours, threatening to swallow the entire monument. The fear of losing it drove Rick to attempt what many deemed impossible: breach the deeper chambers that ancient symbols predicted lay below. The journey downward begins on day 19 of the excavation, when seismic monitors detected faint rhythmic pulses, unlike any natural tremor previously recorded. Experts believed these vibrations originated from a hollow formation beneath the statue. Rick followed the signal. Passing through limestone corridors shaken by centuries of pressure, they reached what appeared to be a sealed door, a 3.4-meter slab of stone, etched with spirals and human figures, kneeling before what resembled the very statue above. No explosives could be used. The structure was too fragile, and collapse would be lethal. Instead, the team used precision diamond cutters, lowering rig machinery by crane into the shaft. It took 26 hours to safely remove the outer crust. When the final layer fell away, the stone door responded to Rick's touch. A soft, rushing sound followed, as though the earth exhaled, and the chamber beyond awakened. Inside, the air was surprisingly dry. The walls shimmered faintly, lit by mineral veins, glowing like trapped lightning. The markings told the story of a vanished civilization, whose identity is still unknown. People who believed that gold was not wealth, but memory. Symbols depicted laborers carving their stories into metal, forging their cultural spirit into statues to guard their legacy. One glyph appeared repeatedly, a hand pressed to a relief, opening the way to knowledge. Rick instinctively repeated the gesture, his palm aligning with the carved symbols, and the inner vault opened just enough to reveal what had been hidden for millennia. Within the chamber lay stacked ingots, molded artifacts, 7 ceremonial masks, and a low altar, each piece made from the same deep yellow alloy as the statue above. A rough count estimated over 18 tons of shaped gold, protected by time, untouched by air or water. Instruments dated the chamber's seal to nearly 3,400 years old, predating any known gold-working culture in the region. But before the team could celebrate, a violent tremor raced upward, a 4.3 magnitude jolt, recorded at 2:17 local time. The radios crackled. The statue was shifting. Above ground, sensors had detected a 3.8-degree tilt in the 150-ton structure, enough to threaten catastrophic collapse. The crack that birthed the discovery was now becoming a threat. Its depth, once measured at 18 meters, had now plunged past 23 meters. Giant plates groaned beneath the layers of soil, pushed by forces no one yet understood. For Rick, there was no time to retreat. The vault pulsed with ancient purpose, and the team's path forward narrowed into a single, desperate choice: whether to flee or attempt to stabilize the statue from below before it sealed their triumph forever in darkness. Their voices fell silent, buried beneath the echoes of shifting stone. As Rick turned toward the foundation where the gold-forged guardian touched the earth, and realized the only chance of saving it depended on deciphering markings that seemed less like warning and more like invitation. As the vault's tremor surged upward, Rick Ness signaled the evacuation. Their packs held only a fraction of what lay below, 18+ tons of refined relic gold, catalogued in haste as the ground buckled beneath their feet. What remained, more than 120 tons, still fused into the statue above, was shifting dangerously, threatening to plunge into the widening fracture that had first exposed its crown. So began the ascent. It was 2:24, just 7 minutes after the seismic spike, registered at 4.3 magnitude, when the team began climbing the reinforced shaft. The iron ladders rattled like bones, dust rained through the beams, oxygen meters dipped as pockets of gas burst from deeper stone. 3 workers nearly lost footing when a side wall fractured, widening the crack by another 0.6 meters. No machines could help them now. Only ropes, hands, and fear. Above, surface crews tracked the statue's tilt. 5.1 degrees, 6.3, 7.8. At 8 degrees, collapse was considered inevitable. Rick kept his team moving in single file, hugging the wall where pressure was strongest. Their ascent speed was calculated at 18 meters every 12 minutes, far slower than the collapse rate, which sensors estimated at 20 to 22 meters every 10 minutes. Deep inside the earth, the odds were no different from a tomb ceiling. By 2:57, they reached the mid-station, where tremors bucked the shafts and sent dust clouds spiraling like storms. Rick refused to leave anyone behind. Twice, he turned back to help those injured by falling debris. Their heart rates spiked past 160 beats per minute, alarms screaming from their chest monitors. Still, the tunnel held, barely. Just as the first sliver of morning light touched the tops of their boots at 3:11, the world roared. The 150-ton Golden Sentinel, the guardian that had watched over this buried culture for millennia, lost its footing and plunged downward. The sound was neither metallic nor earthly. It was like a mountain being exhaled, collapsing into its own memory. The vault below, sealed beneath thousands of tons of stone, its treasure locked forever, except for what Rick carried out on his back. Silence settled across the mining camp. Dust drifted like snowfall over the creek, coating tents and machines with a pale golden sheen. Above-ground instruments registered a final shift, 9.2 degrees, then 0. The statue was gone. Rick stood still, his hands trembling. Victory had cost the monument that gave them treasure, and he understood the quiet message the earth had delivered. They survived not through dominance, but permission. Within 48 hours, international experts confirmed the structural collapse and mapped the new cavity, 34 to 38 meters deep. Structural engineers declared the site unstable. Further excavation was halted. The surviving relics were transported under armored escort, their cultural classification still under debate. Rick, however, returned to the fractured ridge where morning light now danced across broken stone. The earth felt restless, as though still whispering beneath the crust. Instruments detected faint pulses, rhythmic, measured, almost like a heartbeat, far below the sealed chamber, suggesting their escape was only the beginning of a larger story.